So I want to share with you the self-forgiveness list from destiny.co.za, and it's about the male ego. I did the female ego before. I just want to try this, see what happens, if it assists me in standing up and moving me as self. Well, during this time of when I separated from my husband, why not? I did 3 already, and it really made me feel good. Okay, cool. So first part of it, let me just okay. So I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to define myself according to the ego of the mind. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to believe that I am the ego of the mind. I forgive myself that I have allowed myself to utilize the ego of the mind to define myself, as to hide the insecurities, fear, and inferiority I experience within me. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that the ego of the mind is the polarity manifestation of the mind, a superiority to hide and cover the inferiority and insecurity I actually experience inside myself, but don't want anyone to see or notice through fear that they may judge me if they were to see me. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to become the ego of the mind. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to present a deceptive presentation of myself as the ego of the mind through presenting myself as being superior, so others may think and believe that I am the woman, that I am strong, and that I do not fear. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to become the ego of the mind because it was the only way I knew how to stand and become a woman, to show to everyone else in my world that I am the strong and independent woman. I am changing the word man to a woman because I'm a woman. So every time I say woman, if you're a man and you want to follow this list, well then say man, okay? Great. To continue, I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that only the ego of the mind will seek revenge, will seek fights, will seek conflict to reassert and generate and compound itself within me as me. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize that participation in the ego as the ego is addictive. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to copy the ego manifestation from my father, because I saw my father as the example of me, whom I idolized, and I wanted to be just like him. Thus I become the ego to become my father, so he may be proud of me. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to become the ego of the mind, to use the ego of the mind as a defense and protection of myself, through becoming the presentation of superiority so that no one may think that they have the ability to fuck with me. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to experience a sense of pleasure, a sense of satisfaction, a sense of power when accessing in becoming the ego of the mind as me. I forgive myself that I've allowed myself to define the ego of the mind as power. Forgive myself that I've allowed myself to become the ego of the mind, to feel powerful, to feel strong, and to feel indestructible, to be certain that no one or nothing can fuck with me in any way. I forgive myself that I haven't allowed myself to realize I'm not the ego of the mind. Okay, we'll continue on the next one.